Shalom everyone, it's called Torah, it's Tuesday at noon, and today we'll discuss Parashat Chayei Sarah, the Torah portion of the week. In this Torah portion we have a life cycle of death and burial, referring to Sarah's death and Abraham burying her in Me'arat HaMachpelah, in the gravesite in Hebron, really Abraham's first possession of a piece of land in the land of Israel. Later on, we have the first shidduch, the first matchmaking between Yitzchak and Rivka that was basically made done by Eliezer, Abraham's servant. And later on, we have the descendants of Ishmael and how Ishmael built a family, and leading to next week where Yitzchak and Rivka are building a family. Today, I would like to focus on the first part of the parsha, the purchasing of the burial site that was done by Abraham. As we know, Abraham came back from the Akedah, from binding of Isaac, and Sarah, his life partner, the love of his life, passed away. And he mourned her and he cried for her. And as much as God promised him the entire land of Israel, he had to really negotiate to buy a piece of land. And it's very interesting to read all those verses that specify and really brought all the details, the little details of the negotiation and how much Abraham paid for this gravesite. But I wanted to single out a very interesting detail. A very interesting detail. Basically, the detail is that Abraham told the people of Hebron that he would like to buy this gravesite for his wife, but also he had in mind to buy it for future generations. The name for this gravesite is Me'arat HaMachpelah. Me'ara is a cave, and Machpelah is from the word kefel, double. So why it is called Me'arat HaMachpelah? So our rabbis told us that couples were buried there, Adam and Eve, Abraham and Sarah, Rebecca and Isaac, and Jacob and Leah. So what does it mean? I think it meant something extraordinary. Abraham bought a gravesite not only for him and for his wife. He bought a gravesite for future couples, for future generations. He wanted Isaac and Rebecca to be buried there, and then later on his grandchild, Yaakov, and his wife. What does it mean to us? It means something very important. We as the Jewish people that already began our journey as a family and as a nation, starting with Abraham, we always have in mind what I will call the long-term vision. We don't do things only for ourselves. When we buy things, when we invest time or money or efforts, we look more than just ourselves. We look at the second generation, the third generation. We see the family, not only ourselves as our little unit, but our children and grandchildren. Avram did it when he bought a burial site, but he also did it and tried to basically imbue it in his children to do it while they are alive. A prime example to it, by the way, is Yaakov. At the end of the story about Jacob and his family, when he goes down to Egypt to reunite with Joseph, he tells Joseph, your children, Ephraim and Manasseh, are going to be like my children, Reuben and Shimon and Simon. Basically what Jacob did, he brought his grandchildren to the level of his children, basically bridging the gap of generations, making them one unit. What really held us for so many years as the Jewish people is the strength of our families, is our ability to bring generations together, to bring multi-generation people, children, grandchildren, and if you are really lucky, great-grandchildren, to one family. Bridging the gap of generation, bridging the gap of language and technology, bringing them all together. So they are all able to sit around the same table and have the same common conversation. What helped us tremendously was obviously the Torah, the text, that we all can share together. We can all comment. It's very hard to communicate with your grandchildren or great-grandchildren when they are on their iPhones and they are on iPads, and sometimes we are technologically challenged and they are not, obviously. But when we talk about basically the same text, the same Torah, the same narrative, then we have a common conversation. So basically, what the Torah teaches us is that we can and we should try to bridge this gap of generations. Try to create a common conversation. Try to create a united family. Thank you.